questions people often ask me. Now anxiety is gone. What next? What am I battling with? If you had anxiety, how are you managing the after effects? Yeah, it feels like Adobe After Effects. There is always an after effect. Always. Well, it depends on how you see it. For me, I use this after effects to create beautiful effects. Like someone said of recent that if a demon leaves you, it kind of leaves injuries behind. So it's left to you to actually take your time to clean up those injuries properly. Yeah. So yes, I dare say an anxiety is a demon. Yeah. And thank you, Jesus Christ. I have been healed. Okay. So there's a few things I go through presently, and I will leave tips on how I manage it. Okay. So now the first thing is I ask myself deeper relation questions or relative questions on exactly how I feel. Like, okay, let me give instances. For example, now I would feel like sulky, I would feel like sunken, I would feel soggy, I would feel weird. But then I ask myself questions like, why do I feel weird? Number one. And I'm like, okay, I try to retrace what actually made me feel weird. I'm like, okay, I started feeling weird when I went on the internet and I saw this. I'm like, okay, that means because of what you saw, it made you to feel weird. I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay. I'm like, why is it that what you saw made you feel weird? Was it the content or was it something else? You understand? So as I'm trying to understand the emotions I'm feeling inside, it kind of gives me this easy peasy a bit. And then it comes to a stage when I'm like, okay, fine, it's not your fault because you went online, you were doom scrolling, and you saw something like that. Next time, be more careful with what you search online and what you see, okay? And then I ease myself out. I use multitasking. So I'm this kind of person that used to multitask a lot of times, and it actually affected me a lot because when you're multitasking, you get to think too much at a time, and over time, you start overthinking. So now that I am healed, I know 100% that I should not multitask. And whenever I am in this condition where I have to multitask, I try as much as possible to bring it down. Yeah. So what I do now is I write down things I want to do in steps. I'm like, okay, I should do this before I do that. Sometimes I get, okay, I might be doing this and then I start doing the other time. And I start doing the second one. I'm like, no, stop it. Victory, stop it. Focus on one, do one first. The only thing I do is I try to do the other one faster than the next one, so that I could just work more efficiently. So that's the second one. So now the third one is forgetfulness. Okay, so having anxiety made me very observant. Like I would pay attention to tiny details and try to read meaning to these tiny details. I usually felt that if I were to concentrate on your tiny details and observe your tiny actions, I could literally guess exactly what you were thinking. That's crazy, right? And then I would be like, okay, he smirked, okay, he sniffed, okay, he gave me this eye. Doesn't mean I actually failed the interview. Didn't mean that, okay, he's not gonna call me for the job. You understand what I'm saying? So because of this detailedness of my observation, I would go back home and process all the information all at once, and I start overthinking, and then triggers start. So now I know more better to just ignore. I literally ignore things a lot now. I don't really care per se. If you like, smirk what you want. itching, rub your eyeballs, pull it out in my side. As long as it's not affecting me and it's not toxic to yourself and you feel comfortable with it, I would just let you. So now that I'm healed, okay, what usually happens now is that because I don't want to pay attention to too much, I tend to forget a lot. Like before, I noticed that I remembered far back as a very long time ago, but now, whenever I think I reprogram my mind some way or the other, whenever we're having a conversation and you mention something and you don't really put much emphasis on it, I tend to forget about it. When we're chatting and you send a line in between a lot of important stuff, like you chip in something, I tend to forget about those kind of things. So my mind literally tries to get out too much information, because I feel if I have too much information up here, then I start overthinking. Why would I think about something I'm oblivious about? So that is something I battle with of recent, and I'm trying my best to not be too forgetful. Honestly, there's sometimes I forget people's faces because I haven't seen them in like 2 years. Like, I don't just remember how you look. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. It's quite annoying, but then I just have to figure my way around it. Forgetting my friends' names because we're on ASU strike. Forgetting you exist because I haven't seen or talked to you for a while. So what I do to try not to have this occurring frequently, I try to reach out to my friends, like people I should reach out to. I have a list of them. I have an alarm that goes on and off reminding me to call or text someone at a particular time in a week, so that I will just not forget you entirely. It's crazy, but yeah. After effect, I told you about it. Another one is I have this rule book of how to feel fine when I don't feel fine. Yeah, it's like the steps on how to be fine. Ha! Yeah, so when I'm not feeling too fine, I try as much as possible to go through this step from top to bottom. I do them, and I notice that sometimes when I'm getting towards the ending, I feel perfectly fine, but then there's some rare occasions where I can't or don't feel as much as fine as I should. So I repeat those steps until I am able to stay calm and stay fine. I might tell you those steps maybe later on in the future, that if you're interested in knowing the steps, you could drop a comment and tell me, what do you do when you don't feel fine? When I mean when I don't feel fine, when I feel a little bit agitated. Yeah. About anxiety, sometimes it's not even necessary for you to overthink before you have a panic attack. Sometimes you might just be just there, and then it start rising. It's really weird because you're like, you literally did not do anything today. You were just calm, and then you start feeling anxious. Okay, another thing I do actually is de-stressing. Okay, what's de-stressing? De-stressing is actually releasing your stress from all your activities. At least once a week, I try as much as possible to de-stress. And how do I de-stress? I do things that actually make me think. Yeah, like going to the studio. I love going to the studio a lot because I notice that when I'm there, I am in my most comfort zone and creative zone. Like, I watched the movie and this guy was de-stressing by cleaning the house. Yeah. So sometimes I actually de-stress at the end of the day by editing videos, just fun videos where I just play with it and play games with it. That is another way of de-stressing at the end of the day. But then there's this weekly follow-along de-stress routine that I have to undergo. No matter how tight I am, I must go to the studio at least once a week. And if I'm very, very opportune, I go to like 3 times a week. And of recent, when I go to the studio, the first thing I do is to sleep. And they're like, Vichy, what's wrong with you? In my mind, I'm like, it's not as if I'm not fine, but I just want to sleep. So first of all, I sleep for like 2 or an hour, and then I just stand up and I edit the video. I just have this wonderful discussion with my friends, just stay comfortable by de-stressing. Try that out. think anxiety actually taught me that part. It taught me to release, let go of those negative energies, because sometimes we tend to gather up these energies and then they come at us with big blows, and then we get possessed by the demons and the rest. And again, sleep. Oh God. Sometimes I don't really sleep. People like, someone literally said I had insomnia. I was like, what? But then I sleep a lot. Yeah, I sleep in the day. Like I do naps a lot of times. Like I could go like a 2 hours nap. It will just be 2 hours, but for me it will feel like eternity. Yeah, then I fall asleep a lot during talking sessions. Yeah, walking and those brief seconds where my mind just drifts and turns off. People are like, you sleeping? But to me, it's kind of very helpful because I tend to feel more relaxed when I just open my eyes back. And I will say, it's the light, but it's really the light. Okay, now this one is very, very particular. It's called outlining triggers and running away from them. I've said this so million times, 1,000,001 times. There is always a trigger. What are the trigger? Outline them and run away from it. If there are people, run away from them. Even if you love someone so much, how does it benefit you if you are insane and the person is still in your life? Yeah, right? So I will always pick my mental health first. I'm sorry. Over you. I don't care. It's just the fact that I need to be fine so that we can be fine, okay? If you do not understand that, then it's fine. It's your personal understanding. But based on my knowledge over the years, if I'm not fine, I will be not fine. And again, I can't be in a toxic relationship with you, bro or sister. It doesn't make sense, okay? I love you, but come on. If you love me too, you understand that I need to take care of myself too. Thank you. Okay, having anxiety actually made me more creative. This is weird, but it's true. I did this video where I was what was I doing? I actually had a concept for a TikTok video, but then along the line I realized the concept wasn't actually something I could film because I had little gadgets, materials, and I didn't have assistants. So I was filming with a camera and then I was with my phone, and all of a sudden I thought of 7 different ideas, 7 different video ideas, and I just filmed. So when I was editing, I went back and I saw the scenario when I discovered that okay, I cannot film this part because of I needed some things and I didn't have it presently. But then in less than 5 seconds, I just started filming the other videos, and I knew to myself that I was actually thinking of how to improvise and other ideas. And that was because of overthinking. So many information in your mind at once, you just tend to be so creative over time, thinking of 30 creative possibilities of making more money. Now that is basically everything. I know this video seems so boring and so long, but then this is actually a mental health video, so you just have to watch it there. Okay, so subscribe to this channel if you haven't, like this video and share it to your friends who you suspect has a mental illness. And also please check on your friends, okay? Some of us go through a lot we don't want to talk about because we don't know how to talk about it, because we don't think you understand us. So you should check on your friends more, okay? And bye. Finally.